type of life that I think everybody that stays in it, you know, loves it. Even though, you know, the ones that are really hard work and everything, they wouldn't do anything else.
I think everybody comes to this genre of art, this thing called Western art, with different expectations. Some want to come away with an experience of simply reviving that kind of romantic spirit that the West held for them, whether they're viewing contemporary art or whether they're viewing a big landscape painting by Albert Bierstadt or a wonderfully romantic scene of Indian life by Charles Russell. They identify with the grandeur of the West. They identify with the grandeur of that American myth that is evidenced in these paintings.
Western art has a lot to do with those virtues that we all like to apply to the American people. It shows a vast landscape, people by individuals who possess all those virtues of honesty, hard work, and all the kinds of characteristics that we would like to apply to the America as a nation.
Name's Harold Holden. I've been doing this kind of art for 35 years. This is a wax pattern of a piece called Wrangler. It goes to a piece with the two horses and roping one of them. This is the top half of the man. The bottom half's not on there yet. I live up in the Kremlin area, but I'm born here in Enid. And just my subject matter is kind of the way I live, so that's why I do the cowboy mostly. And that's my inspiration anyway. I don't have any desire to paint flowers or just landscapes alone. I like the subject matter. So.
Harold is an interesting personality. Harold is a cowboy, or was a cowboy. I presume he doesn't have that much time now, but because he has grown in popularity in recent years. But he is the kind of person who understands the ranching roots of many of the things he does. And young people can learn a great deal from someone like him on the techniques of sculpture, how to deal with it, and so forth.
Someday my work will be looked at by cowboys or historians, or they'll look at something and they'll say, well, that's not right, you know, that wasn't like that. But to try and have a balance of good design, art, and authenticity. I mean, you can't just have authenticity and have a crummy piece of art. I have to put these on because I can't see too good. The Western art itself has gotten so much better. You know, back in the earlier days, there were just a few of the Western artists, the Russells, the Remington.
In my role as curator in various museums, I have had an opportunity to research and write about a number of important Western artists. Particularly, my expertise is in the works of Frederick Remington, but I've also written on Charles Russell, and I have written books on the landscape artists in the 19th century, Albert Bierstadt and Thomas Moran. I think Western art is plays a remarkable role in terms of public education because Western art is so inviting often because of its sort of mythic qualities or its romantic essence, or it just invites people to get involved in its narrative essence, in the stories that are being told. And so it's an interesting way for people who would be kind of turned off a little bit by art itself, say, well, I don't know anything about art, so I certainly can't enjoy this work of art. Well, these paintings and these bronzes often will invite people to say, well, I can enjoy this because I think I can understand sort of what's going on here. And so it's a way of inviting people to get engaged in the larger implications of what art is about.
I think those two guys were probably the influence so many. One of my big influences was a guy named Will James, who was a cowboy that wrote books also. And I think you were talking about Tom Lovell, who just died a couple of years ago. He was a great illustrator from the East. A huge career in illustrating before he ever started painting the historical West, and all his paintings are historical. You know, they tell stories. I think it's just a matter of time when you'll have pieces of Western art in the major museums up east. And there probably are a few, but of the old masters, you know, Remington, Russells and stuff. You know, there's Remington's, Russells in the White House. But and that's another thing that a lot of people don't, that have their houses. They say, well, my house is not Western, you know, so they wouldn't go in my house. But I said, well, there's a White House Western. There's a Remington bronze sitting there. There's a Russell painting over there. I said, I never noticed that the White House was a Western house, you know.